Sanders campaign manager, Jeff Weaver. So thank you very much for coming on and talking about this. Obviously, this is something that's gotten very heated this week. Look, part of the reason that Jeff Immelt wrote the op-ed responding to Bernie Sanders is that plant in Rutland, Vermont, that he personally feels doesn't understand why Bernie Sanders has never come to visit that plant and perhaps make his own personal opinion on GE and what they're doing. Why hasn't Sanders gone and visited the plant in his home state?
Well, let me say this. Bernie Sanders, when he's not running for president, spends every weekend home in Vermont holding town meetings all across the country, all across the state. I guarantee you that he has met with almost every single worker in that plant. He doesn't necessarily have to go to the GE plant to meet with those GE workers. So I'm confident he spends a lot of time.
So you think he understands their situation, their point of view, without actually going and seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the broader point that Bernie was making, which is the correct point, which is that company after company has been offshoring American jobs, either by moving things, outsourcing things, or shedding pieces to companies overseas. That's the reality in this country, and we've lost, tons of manufacturing jobs, good paying jobs, and it's really in a race to the bottom. So
now GE, Jeff Immelt, Bernie Sanders mentioned specifically his $58 million retirement package that Bernie Sanders says he's going to get. What would happen to Jeff Immelt if Bernie Sanders were president? Do you guys take that away? Do you? I mean, what do you do?
No, we don't take it away. But look, his taxes would go up, as you know. I don't know about Jeff Immelt in particular, but many of these CEOs have effective tax rates which are less than their secretaries. So their taxes are going to go up. There's no doubt about it. They're going to have to start paying their fair share of taxes.
So you're not going to do clawbacks. You're not going to cap CEO pay. That's not.
No, I don't think you have to do that. I think if you set an appropriate tax rate,
then it would work. Okay, so your campaign told us last night, in this response back and forth, and I'll read just the quote because I want to read it exactly. If the CEO of General Electric wants to know how his company is destroying the fabric of America, he should take a good look in the mirror. And of course, earlier in the week, Sanders did this interview with the New York Daily News. In that interview, he was also asked about another company, not GE, Apple. Apple has $158 billion right now overseas. Obviously, they're not paying U.S. taxes on that money. It's the biggest cash stash that this country knows of. Here's what Bernie Sanders told the Daily News about whether Apple is destroying the moral fabric of America.
Apple is not destroying the fabric of America, but I do wish they'd be manufacturing some of their devices here in the United States rather than in China. Okay. And I do wish that they would not be trying to avoid paying their fair share of taxes.
So the point is GE's not paying taxes and GE's offshoring jobs, and why is GE destroying the moral fabric of America but not Apple?
Well, I can't really speak to that because I wasn't with the senator when he made those comments. But I would say, the point is the same with Apple in terms of why are they not manufacturing those products here in the United States? Why are they not paying their taxes here in the United States? We have to make sure that one of the parts of Senator Sanders' tax plan is companies that hide money overseas will have to pay taxes on it whether they bring it back or not, right? So that will deal with this problem.
So he's going to come down hard on Apple too?
Absolutely. If you're hiding money overseas, you're going to pay taxes on it.
All right. Today, I want to ask you about one other thing. President Clinton was asked about Secretary Clinton and whether it was her gender that played a factor in why Bernie Sanders originally said she was not qualified to be president. And he responded, I'll quote him, I think there are some different standards. Some of them are subconscious. So obviously directly, and that was directly in response to whether this was sexist. What's your response to him?
Well, let me say this. Was the Clinton campaign, what was the subconscious thought when the Clinton campaign in 2008 suggested that Barack Obama was not qualified to be vice president? Was there something subconscious involved in that? Of course, that's a ridiculous statement on the part of the president. Look, the secretary and her campaign were the ones that started attacking Senator Sanders' qualifications. So it was obviously not a gender thing because they were attacking, he happens to be a man, and they were attacking his. I mean, Jeff Zeleny of CNN reported it on election night in Wisconsin, that the Clinton campaign's strategy going into New York, they were tired of Sanders, and they wanted to disqualify him, defeat him, and then pick up the pieces later in terms of the party. So look, this is something that started on their side. Obviously was not a gender-related thing.
You did say earlier this week it was fair to bring up this issue of qualifications, whether she was qualified. Now, of course, Senator Sanders is saying he meant judgment. He didn't mean qualifications. Right. I mean, look, the use of the word qualified hasn't played that well for all of you all. That's why Bernie Sanders said he wished to use the word judgment. You obviously also used the word qualified. Do you wish you used another word? Do you regret using that word?
Well, I think qualified in the sense of disqualified as opposed to unqualified, right? I mean, I think those are different meanings, right? I mean, obviously the secretary is resume qualified. She has a distinguished resume. There's no doubt about that. No one can take that away from her, right? But on terms of judgment and the things she supported over the years, the war in Iraq, the way she funds her campaign with special interest money, her support of these disastrous trade deals, these are all broadly speaking, about quote-unquote qualification, but not in the sense, the narrow sense of sort of resume qualification. Which is obviously
disqualified, not unqualified. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good to talk to you, Jeff.
Nice to talk